Okay. Night at the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian, the video game 100% part 13. Okay, so we have some fact cards to read, and then we're gonna try to do the trivia game. It might take me a couple of attempts to finish the trivia game, because I think there's like 50 questions, and I think you have to answer like all of them in one go to beat it, if I recall.
Hey, boy.
And I
Whoa, cool.
don't plan on looking up the answers, so I'm gonna try to legit beat the trivia game if I can. At least I won't look up like the answers while I'm taking the test. Okay. To the gallery. Oh wow, there's a lot of fact cards, okay. Alright, Uranus. Average distance from the sun, 2.9 billion kilometers, or 1.8 billion miles. Length of year, 84 Earth years. Rotation period, 15 hours. Average orbital velocity, 6.8 kilometers per second, or 4.2 miles per second. Inclination of axis, 82 degrees. Diameter, 51,200 kilometers, or 31,800 miles. Number of satellites, at least 27. Diameter, 4.1 times Earth's. Average distance from Sun, 19.2 times Earth's. Mass, 14.5 times Earth's. And density is 0.22 times Earth's. Bruh. Oh, look at that train. This 280-ton, 92-foot-long steam locomotive was built in 1926 for use on the Southern Railway, which connected Washington, D.C. with Atlanta and New Orleans. The 1401 pulled the railway's most prestigious daily passenger trains, including the Crescent Limited, at speeds of up to 80 miles an hour. The 1401 served most of its working life, lasting until 1952 on the railway's Charlotte division between Greensville, South Carolina, and Salisbury, North Carolina, or Salisbury, I don't know. Hence the name Charlotte, seen on the engine's cab. In April 1945, 1401 helped pull President Franklin Roosevelt's funeral train. Nice. Confused about the perspective. What's that black smudge in the bottom left? Huh. Anyway. Look at that. Microscoping it up. This is the principal microscope used by Barbara McClintock in the 1940s and 50s for research on transposing genetic elements in maize. She won the Nobel Prize in 1983 for her discovery of transposing elements, or jumping genes. The instrument is a monocular microscope with a circular mechanical revolving stage and a centering nosepiece. The 40 times objective is mounted on the microscope. The instrument also has 5 other objective lenses contained in a wooden box. Okay. Ooh, look! I think this is what is this? I don't know. Oh, this is just a camp chest with all sorts of stuff in it. Armies on campaign must carry much more with them besides weapons. At the time of the American Revolutionary War, 1776 to 1781, various boxes and chests transported individual effects. They transported individual effects, wardrobes, military payrolls, and other necessities. Camp chests, or canteens as they were called in the 18th century, held utensils and cooking apparatus for use by officers and their staffs when in the field. George Washington's well-appointed personal camp chest, or mess kit, enabled him to dine in a manner reflecting his position as commander of the Continental Army. By 1782, General Washington's camp equipage, I don't know what that means. General Washington's camp equipage, which included canteens, tents, tables, traveling beds, and various other pieces of field equipment, had grown so extensive that he had to request that 2 horses, natural pacers, be selected by the quartermaster general, Timothy Pickering, just to carry his numerous camp chests. The general is Timothy Pickering. Some of these sentences are so long. We do not know which of the several camp chests belonged to Washington. We do not know which of the several camp chests belonging to Washington is in our collection. However, this example is complete with all the original utensils. It contains tin plates and platters, tin pots with detachable wooden handles, glass containers for condiments such as salt, pepper, and sugar, as well as knives and forks with dyed black ivory handles. The chest also contains a tinderbox, candle stand, and folding gridiron. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say this looks like little MRE there, sorta. A big one rather. Neptune. Average distance from Sun, 4.5 billion kilometers or 2.8 billion miles. Length of the year, 165 Earth years. Rotation period, 16.1 hours. Average orbital velocity, 5.4 kilometers per second or 3.3 miles per second. Inclination of axis is 31 degrees. Number of satellites, at least 13. Distance, 3.9 times Earth's. Average distance from Sun, 30.1 times Earth's. Mass, 17.2 times Earth's. And density is 0.31 times Earth's. Bruh. Okay. Look up upper. Stubby, a brindle puppy with a short tail, trained for combat with Private J. Robert Conroy on the fields of Yale University in 1917. Stubby learned the bugle calls, drills, and even how to salute with his paw. Aww. He became the mascot of the 102nd Infantry 26th Yankee Division, and was smuggled aboard a transport and taken to France in 1918. In combat, Stubby developed knacks for sensing gas attacks and for locating wounded soldiers. He even caught a German soldier spying on the Allied armies and was rewarded with the rank of sergeant. He was the first dog ever awarded rank in the U.S. Army, Armed Forces. Stubby was later injured in a grenade attack, and as he recovered in the hospital, he visited with the wounded soldiers and boosted their morale. Stubby served in 17 battles. After the war, he visited the White House twice and met Presidents Harding and Coleridge. or Coolidge. Fuck. Coolidge. Presidents Harding and Coolidge. Stubby was awarded many medals for his heroism, including a medal from the Humane Society that was presented by General John Pershing. Pershing, the commanding general of the United States Armies. He was awarded a membership in the American Legion and the YMCA when his master J. Robert Conroy began studying law at Georgetown University. Stubby became the mascot of the Georgetown Hoyas. He died in 1926. Crazy. Pouring one out for you, Stubby. If I had one. Okay. Ooh, a pigeon. I've seen so many of these guys at the Philly airport. Let this penguin chill on screen for a sec. Cher Ami was a registered black check cock carrier pigeon, one of the birds owned and flown by the U.S. Army Signal Corps in France during World War I. He delivered 12 important messages within the American sector at Verdun. On his last mission, the 4th of August, 1918, he was shot through the breast and leg by enemy fire, but still managed to return to his loft with a message capsule dangling from the wounded leg. The message Cher Ami carried was from Major Charles S. Whittlesey's Lost Battalion of the 77th Infantry Division that had been isolated from other American forces. The message brought about the relief of the 194 survivors of the battalion, and they were safe behind American lines shortly after the message was received. For his heroic service, Cher Ami was awarded French Croix de Guerre. Croix de Guerre with palm. He was returned to the United States and died at Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, on the 13th of June, 1919, as a result of his wounds. Cher Ami was later inducted into the Racing Pigeon Hall of Fame in 1931 and received a gold medal from the Organized Bodies of American Pigeon Fanciers in recognition of his extraordinary service during World War I. Good job, Cher. Ooh. Custer's jacket, huh? General George Armstrong Custer wore this fringed, double-breasted buckskin coat when he was lieutenant colonel with the 7th U.S. Cavalry in the Dakotas. It was one of several owned by Custer, who preferred to dress like a frontiersman while out west. Custer was born in 1839 in New Rumsley, Ohio. By 1857, he was enrolled as a cadet in the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, upon appointment by a congressman. He graduated last in his class of 34 students. During the Civil War, he became known for his fearlessness, some would say recklessness, in battle. Indeed, he was promoted to the rank of Major General by the age of 25. He figured prominently in Sheridan's campaign in the Shenandoah Valley in 1864, at the surrender at Appomattox in April 1865. General Sheridan gifted Custer's wife Elizabeth with the table on which the surrender was signed. After the war, Custer's rank reverted to captain. He received command of the newly formed 7th Cavalry in 1866 with the rank of lieutenant colonel. While in command of the 7th Cavalry, he gained a reputation as an Indian fighter who often ignored orders if they did not suit his sense of self-aggrandizement. His recklessness finally caught up to him on June 25, 1876, when he and his 5 companies of U.S. cavalry were annihilated by a combined force of thousands of Sioux and Cheyenne warriors at Little Bighorn, Montana. In 1864, Custer married Elizabeth, known as Libby Bacon. Theirs was a marriage of love and devotion. Libby followed her husband on campaign during the Civil War and even went with him to the frontier. After his death, Libby crusaded to perpetuate the image of her husband as a gallant soldier. To this end, she undertook speaking engagements and wrote several books. In 1912, she donated this coat to the Smithsonian in memory of her husband. Neat. Ooh. Samuel F.B. Morse, 1791 to 1872, an artist and inventor of the telegraph, was in Paris in 1839 sharing the scientific celebrity stage with Daguerre. I don't know who the fuck Daguerre is. I need to learn more about Daguerre. The two inventors shared their notes on inventions, and Morse returned to the U.S. with a camera, perhaps the first camera in the United States. Morse, whose photographic endeavors would be limited, inspired and taught a number of men who went on to become important photographers. Nice. Oh, a skeleton. Yorick is a plastic male skeleton embedded with electronic and mechanical devices used to replace worn body parts. Yorick was created by Ed Mueller, an engineer in the Division of Mechanical and Material Sciences at the United States Food and Drug Administration, FDA, in Washington, D.C. Yorick often made appearances at schools, scout meetings, and hospitals to educate students about bionics and current research on implant design development. Some of the devices implanted in Yorick are a cranial plate, silicone nose, carbon tooth root, intraocular lens, cochlear implant, heart valve, artificial heart, cardiac pacemaker, infusion port, vascular grafts, urinary sphincter prosthesis, artificial patella, bone plate, artificial tendons, bone growth simulator, and artificial hip, knee, elbow, and finger joints. They didn't put the artificial wiener, though. Okay. Okay. Oh, these little toys. Oh. With children treated as little adults in early America, toys were mostly homemade. By the late 1800s, childhood became a valued stage of life, and the toy industry flourished. This cast-iron circus toy was made around 1900. The circus parade was the highlight of the summer in many small towns. Circus toys helped capture some of the color and excitement. In the parade were horse-drawn wagons, animal cages, riding bands, elephants, horses, clowns, and the steam calliope. Calliope, I don't know how to say that. American manufacturers produced toys to recreate for children the fantasy of circus life. Ooh, look at that. Harriet Powers, 1837 to 1911, an African-American farm woman from Clark County, Georgia, made this cotton quilt in or around 1885. A former slave who could neither read or write, she used both hand and machine stitching to illustrate scenes from the Holy Bible in pierced work and applique. In pierced work and applique. In 11 rectangular blocks of various sizes, Harriet depicted Old and New Testament scriptures from Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden to the crucifixion of Christ. In 1886, Harriet Powers exhibited her imaginative creation at a large cotton fair in Athens, Georgia. Okay. Leeches. Leeches have been used in medicine since ancient times, but it was during the 19th century, when bloodletting represented the nation's premier medical theory, that physicians employed leeches on a massive scale. For this reason, the period became known as the time of leech mania. Bloodletting is a dangerous practice involving the draining of a patient's blood. It was believed that weakening the body through the reduction of blood flow treated a variety of disorders, especially fevers and inflammatory diseases. Medicinal leeches, blood-sucking aquatic worms with saliva that serves as both anesthetic and an anticoagulant, were used along with special surgical instruments as lancelets and fleams to drain blood. This fancy 19th century display jar was used by a pharmacist to highlight his supply of medicinal leeches. Holes were cut in the lid to admit air, since the pharmacist stocked the jar with leeches intended for sale that day. The jar's elaborate presentation indicates the high value of leeches held as a commodity during this period. They were sold in great numbers to members of both the medical profession and the public. Bloodletting, often criticized during its time, quickly fell from favor due to the advent of new, more effective medicinal techniques and understandings. Or medical techniques and understandings. Leeches are still occasionally used in modern medicine, although in a much different manner. Today they are primarily used in reattachment surgery and skin grafts. Huh. Gonna load up some museum weed. Alright, here, I'll open it up now. This Morgan horse was presented to General Philip Sheridan by the officers of the 2nd Michigan Cavalry in 1862. He was 3 years old, jet black with 3 white fetlocks, and stood 16 hands high. Who the fuck says that? After he carried Sheridan on his famous ride from Winchester, Virginia to Cedar Creek, Virginia on October 19th, 1864, in time for Sheridan to rally his troops and turn almost certain defeat into victory, the horses was changed. The horses, I guess they forgot to put the name. The word name. The horse's name was changed from Rienzi after Rienzi, Mississippi to Winchester. Dude, that sentence fucking sucks. Whoever wrote that sentence, not only the fact that it's missing the word name, but like, some of these sentences are just so run on, dude. I mean, I'm like, I don't know. It's just kind of hard to read some of this, because it's just so like, comma, 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 comma. It's like 17 sentences in one. I'm being a little bit critical, but like, damn, dude. Anyway. I mean, it's interesting to read, so I'm not gonna, like, I guess I can't complain too much, but, so his name was Rienzi and changed to Winchester. While Cedar Creek was his most famous engagement, Winchester accompanied his master Sheridan to more than 40 other battles. Winchester was even present at Appomattox Courthouse in April 1865 for the official surrender of the Confederate Army. Despite being wounded in battle several times, Winchester lived to be almost 20 years old. After his death in October 1878, he was preserved and mounted. In 1879, Sheridan presented him to the Military Museum at Governor's Island, New York. Winchester was exhibited there until a fire in 1922 forced the museum to transfer him to the Smithsonian Institution. A military escort accompanied him to his new home amid much fanfare. He was put on display in the National Museum until 1964, when he moved to the newly opened National Museum of American History. Horse and man have been commemorated in poetry, song, sculpture, museum exhibits, and battlefield recollections. Portraits, sketches, and poems all immortalize Sheridan's famous ride on Winchester. The most famous of these poems was written by Thomas Buchanan Reed, a painter, entitled Thomas Buchanan Reed, a painter, entitled Sheridan's Ride. The poem became an instant sensation and was even thought to have helped Lincoln get reelected. Reed followed up the poem in 1865 with a painting of the same title. Neat. Diplodocus. Diplodocus longus. A long double beam with a flexible neck useful for feeding on treetops, an even longer whip-like tail, a total body length of over 100 feet. Diplodocus is one of the longest dinosaurs known from a completely reconstructed skeleton. It required such enormous amounts of food that it was eating all day long. For safety in numbers to defend against predators of 150 million years ago, Diplodocus probably migrated in herds to its feeding grounds throughout today's Colorado, Utah, and Wyoming. Pretty cool. Oh, there's another thing about Diplodocus. Nice. Diplodocus longus lived in the western part of North America during the late Jurassic period, 155 to 145 million years ago. At 87 feet from nose to tail, it was one of the longest dinosaurs. Its neck alone was as much as 26 feet long, and its whip-like tail as long as 45 feet. At 10 to 20 tons, Diplodocus weighed far less in comparison to its overall size than its relatives Camarasaurus and Brachiosaurus. Quadruped. I'm nice. A quadruped. Its forelegs were slightly shorter than its hind legs. The small head housed peg-like teeth that allowed this herbivore to strip leaves from stems. Although its nostrils were at the end of the snout, the air it breathed passed through an opening far back at the top of its skull, between the eyes. Neat. Ooh, an Allosaurus. Allosaurus fragilis. This large biped dinosaur lived around 150 million years ago in what is now western North America. It preyed upon large herbivorous dinosaurs that roamed river banks and floodplains rich in vegetation. Its massive skull, which featured a pair of ridges around the eyes, contained dozens of large, sharp teeth. Allosaurus was one of the largest carnivores of its age, reaching lengths of almost 40 feet. It lived at the same time as the first bird, Archaeopteryx, in the Jurassic period. Nice. Look at that boy. Mammuthus primigenius. Mammuthus primigenius. Primeval Earth monster from 200,000 to a mere 4,000 years ago. Woolly mammoths roamed the wintry northern landscapes of the Ice Age. Unlike that of their modern tropical relative, the elephant, the mammoth's body was covered with fat, further warmed by a thick woolly layer under long shaggy hair that provided insulation and repelled water, a combination that suited them perfectly for life in their cold environment. Mammoths used huge curved tusks up to 16 feet long, both as defensive weapons and for clearing snow from the tundra in order to reach the edible grass beneath. There's the tiger model. Smilodon californicus, knife tooth from California. Though shorter than a lion, Smilodon was a more powerfully built predatory cat that preyed on the large, slow-moving animal species of North and South America in prehistoric times. It thrived from about 2.5 million years ago during the latest ice age until going extinct around 9,500 years ago. Its foot-long skull supported outsized dagger-like canines that grew to be as much as 9 inches long. A master of the sneak attack, it probably rushed its prey and stabbed the neck or underbelly of its enormous fangs to create massive wounds, then waited for the prey to bleed to death. Wow. Stenopterygius? Stenopterygius. Quadricisus. Stenopterygius quadricisus. 4 narrow wings. During the period when dinosaurs ruled the land, Stenopterygius excelled as a superior swimmer among marine reptiles. Slicing through the seas with thin paddle-like fins, and propelling its streamlined dolphin-like body with a large tail fin. These keen-sighted killers had enormous eyes, sensitive hearing, and a sharp, long snout lined with rows of sharp teeth, making them skillful hunters that gobbled fish, octopus, giant squid, shellfish, and other aquatic reptiles. Alright, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Tyrannosaurus Rex, tyrant reptile king. With massive 9-inch teeth serrated like curved daggers and thick enough to crush bone, Tyrannosaurus was among the largest and most powerful of predatory dinosaurs and may possibly have been the largest flesh-eating land animal of all time. One of the last species of dinosaurs to thrive before their mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous period 65 million years ago, Tyrannosaurus, possibly in pairs or packs, trailed herds of plant-eating dinosaurs, ambushing and picking off the weak, young, and sick. Tsavorite is a highly prized gem variety of grossular garnet. It was first discovered in 1968 near Kenya's Tsavo National Park. This region on the Kenya-Tanzania border remains the only source of gem tsavorite. The most valuable tsavorites range from an intense green to blue-green and can sometimes be confused with emeralds. This tsavorite exhibits a highly prized vivid green color. It is large in size for a tsavorite at 15.93 carats. Okay. Another mammoth thing? Okay. Look at that. The 40.10 carat tourmaline is from a recent find in Mozambique. Tourmaline gem in Mozambique. The 40.10 carat tourmaline is from a recent find in Mozambique. Tourmaline gems are found in the complete range of the color spectrum, in exquisite shades unlike any other gemstone. This unusually large example manifests an intense purple color, very rare for tourmaline. Commonly, tourmalines of this color from Mozambique are heat-treated to turn them a neon blue, similar to the rare and valuable Paraíba tourmalines of Brazil. This gem was not heat-treated, probably due to natural flaws that would not withstand the heat without shattering the stone, or possibly because of its particularly intense and attractive natural color. The Hope Diamond. The world's largest deep blue diamond is more than 1 billion years old. The parent stone of the Hope Diamond formed deep within the earth and was carried by a volcanic eruption to the surface in what is now India. It was discovered prior to 1668 in the Golconda region of southern India. In 1668, French gem merchant Jean-Baptiste Tavernier sold the 115 metric carat diamond to King Louis XIV of France, who commissioned it to be recut to the 69 carat French blue diamond. The French blue was stolen during the 1792 French Revolution. 20 years and 2 days later, after the statute of limitations expired, a 45.52 carat blue diamond was quietly put up for sale in London, and eventually Henry Philip Hope purchased it. After being passed down through the Hope family, the diamond was sold in 1901. It then changed hands several times and was eventually sold to Pierre Cartier in 1909. Cartier in turn sold the diamond to Evelyn Walsh McLean of Washington, D.C. in 1911. McLean's flamboyant ownership of the stone lasted until her death in 1947. Harry Winston Incorporated of New York City purchased McLean's entire jewelry collection, including the Hope Diamond, from her estate in 1949. For the next 10 years, the Hope Diamond was shown at many exhibits and charitable events worldwide by Harry Winston Incorporated. On November 10th, 1958, the company donated the Hope Diamond to the Smithsonian Institution. The weight of the Hope Diamond for many years was reported to be 44.5 carats, but in 1974 it was removed from its setting and found to be 45.52 carats. Found to weigh 45.52 carats. It is classified as a type 11B diamond. I don't know exactly what that is. A type which is semiconductive and usually phosphorescent after exposure to short-wave ultraviolet light. The Hope Diamond phosphoresces a strong red that lasts for several minutes after being removed from UV exposure. The diamond's vivid blue coloration is attributed to trace amounts of boron in the stone. The pendant surrounding the Hope Diamond holds 16 white diamonds, both pear shapes and cushion cuts, and the necklace chain contains 45 white diamonds. Jesus. Okay. Woolly mammoths, Mammuthus primigenius, were first recorded in deposits of the next to last glaciation, possibly 150,000 years ago in Eurasia, and were derived from steppe mammoths, Mammuthus trogontheri. These massive elephants roamed in herds. They reached food by swinging their heads from side to side, using tusks to scrape the snow from the ground. They went extinct around 10,000 years ago, when about 75% of all large land mammals died out. Saber-toothed cats lived from about 2.5 million years ago to about 10,000 years ago, at the end of the Pleistocene era. About the size of a modern lion, these carnivores thrived in the grassy plains and open woodlands. Their powerful front legs suggest that they used stealth and ambush rather than speed to capture their prey. Their huge canines allowed them to slash open the soft bellies or easily stab deep into the necks of prey animals. Bruh, I'm gonna need to take a hit before I fucking read all this. We're getting close though, guys. We got 3 more to read. Let's look at this polar bear for a sec. Just hang out. Polar bears evolved from Alaskan brown bears about 100,000 years ago, making them the world's most recently evolved large mammal species. Polar bears live year-round near Arctic waters, hunting seal and other animals, rarely coming onto land except at islands and rocky shores. In winter, they hunt along the Arctic shelves looking for tasty seals, fish, and even humans. Their white coats provide excellent camouflage against the ice and snow, rendering them almost invisible as they stalk their prey. In winter, when they are far from land, they search for breathing holes made by seals. When a seal comes up for air at one of these holes, the polar bear will kill it and flip it out of the water with a single blow of its great clawed paw. Polar bears are very dangerous. They grow to a huge size and often weigh as much as a small automobile, 1,000 pounds. They have longer legs than other bears and large furry feet that help distribute their weight as they walk on the thin ice over the Arctic waters. Polar bears are strong swimmers and can stay submerged for up to 2 minutes at a time. Their fur is made of hollow hairs which trap air and help insulate them from the frigid waters. In November, polar bears retire to dens dug out of the snow or permafrost. The females remain there until spring, when they emerge with 1 or 2 cubs who stay with them for the next year and a half. The males spend a shorter time in the dens and may be encountered in the open at any time of year. Bruh. Ooh, a meteorite. The Murchison meteorite. The Murchison meteorite fell in Australia in 1969 and is a CM2 carbonaceous chondrite. Like most chondrites, it dates to the birth of the solar system 4.56 billion years ago. $4.56 billion years ago, huh? Chondrites. Okay. Right whale fun facts. Right whales weigh close to 2,000 pounds at birth. Adults reach around 140,000 pounds, about the weight of 12 African elephants. A right whale can eat more than 2,200 pounds of food a day. Right whales are baleen whales. Long baleen plates in the mouth strain food. Tiny copepods? Tiny copepods such as plankton from huge quantities of water. Alright, well, we've purchased everything from the gallery. And we've read all of the fact cards. Let's try the trivia game. Answer each question in the time given and receive token point bonuses. What is this? That is an unmanned spacecraft. Yeah, I mean that's not a rover. Nice. The Jenny was used mostly as a barnstorming mail-carrying plane in the 1920s. Large number of Jennies were available in nights when did the Jenny first appear? 1917. Let's go. The children treated as little adults. Toys were made homemade. Circus life, prison life. Included David Scott and Eugene Cernan. How many men have explored the surface of the moon? So what, there was what, like 3 missions? So 8? Is it 12? Dang. Okay. Surveyor series was designed to carry out landings on the moon and provide data about its surface and possible atmosphere. There were 7 Surveyor launches. When was the first launch? God, I don't remember. I mean, it had to be, yeah, before 1969, right? This is the Hope Diamond. How many years old is the Hope Diamond? Didn't it say? Yeah, like really old. TIROS, television infrared observation satellite, was the world's first weather satellite. When was it launched? 1985, 1960. Okay, well. For 30 years, the Pioneer 10 spacecraft photographed Earth, having undergone Pioneer's last week signal was approximately this far, 12 billion kilometers. Saturn V when you provided how many pounds of thrust? I don't know, wasn't it that many? It was a lot. Yeah. On November, Explorer Lincoln Ellsworth pilot took off Polar Star from Dundee Island when headed across what continent? Australia? Dang it, Antarctica. You missed 3 questions, you can learn more. Yeah, I know. Thanks, game. You still get a good amount of stuff for the gallery points though, huh? Well, I guess you can just get infinite points from the trivia game. Neat. £2,000, 2,200 pounds. Dang it. At birth, wasn't that 2,000 pounds? Okay. How long were they? Allosauruses? I forget. 15? 40, dang it. How much can polar bears weigh? 1,000 pounds, yeah. When did they go extinct? About 10,000 years ago, yeah. It's often confused with an emerald. 4.56 billion. The Morse camera, yeah. What kind of rocket is this? Was that a B-38? V2, okay. The 1401 locomotive, what was that, 80? Yeah. The Diplodocus, how long was the Diplodocus? It was like 100 feet? Okay. The Ichthyosaur. Oh, okay, that's what it is. I thought it was maybe an Ichthyosaur. Fish swimming. Oh, whales and dolphins. Oh, dang it. European company Airbus entered the market. How many passengers could it see? What was it, like 150? Yeah. What advancement did the X-15 make aeronautical to aeronautical exploration? Bridge the gap between manned flight within the atmosphere and manned flight between beyond atmosphere and space. Okay. About 10,000 years ago. What did the astronauts do with their backpacks? Spacesuits provided temperature in space systems. They left them on the moon, right? Yeah. Curtiss D3 pusher resulted from an accident, noted expedition pilot. When did production? Okay, that was 1912. Yeah, I don't know. Electric streetcars. By the turn of the century, how many miles of line were in operation? What, 200, right? Yeah. Block 2 Apollo Command and Service Module combination was used for vibration acoustic tests. What other country agreed? Apollo and Soyuz spacecraft. The USSR. The Sable. From where did Abel's test flight leave the Earth? Detroit, Cape Canaveral, damn it. I wasn't sure. I forgot if they did launches from Cape Canaveral or not. Yorick, what is the skeleton of a male human? Which world war did the Douglas SB-2 Dauntless make significant contribution to? 2? I don't know. How many people could fit in Apollo Command Module Skylab 4? What was it? 4? 3? Dang. When did Harriet Powers make this cotton quilt? Was, yeah, 1885. George Washington, apparently, maybe. Glenn Jr., John H. Glenn Jr. became the first American to orbit Earth. When did this occur? 1962? Okay. How was the lunar roving powered? Solar? Battery? Dang it. Dang it. Okay. U.S. flew the Curtiss Victory Schneider Trophy race. Won second place. What was different about the Curtiss R3C-2 in the second flight? Wasn't it like an improved engine? Yeah. How many propellers does the Northrop thing have? Well, 1. What species did they evolve? The Alaskan brown bear. Where did this Douglas A-4C make a significant military contribution? Vietnam, I think, yeah. Became the first pilot to fly twice the speed of sound. How long did it take to use up all the fuel? Probably minutes, seconds, okay. Where was it first discovered? Tanzania. Kenya, fuck. My bad. This bright red Lockheed Vega 5B was flown by Amelia Earhart on 2 history-making flights. The first solo flight. What years did these flights occur? What was it, like 32? How many years ago did the dinosaurs become extinct? 65? When did the last Apollo landing mission? 1972. Charles, the first aircraft, Far East. What year is the flight? 1931. 4 specially built aircraft were commissioned. Douglas Aircraft Company is there, so Chicago, New Orleans, and the Norman to Boston. Dang it. World's first modern airliner revolutionized air transportation when it entered service in United Airlines in what year? 1933. 11 Command Module Columbia served as living quarters for crew. How many people were inside? 3. When did Nelson Jackson complete the first transcontinental automobile trip? Was that 1903? Leeches. What did leeches remove from the body? Blood. Tin Goose. This airplane entered service in 1928 and helped advance which industry? The public air travel. Yeah, I was gonna say. I think that during World War II, counted more pilots from which country than what other? Japan. How many seats did that one have? 2, 1. Okay. How many lives did he save? 194. I don't remember how many feet. 18,415 apparently. Nice. Where was the Machi? In Italy, dude. How many were produced? The DC-3s? 200? More than 13,000. Okay. How long were the teeth of the Tyrannosaurus? When was Custer born? What, 1839? How much faster was, than the opposing North American Mustang was the ME-262? Oh, I don't know. It wasn't that much, right? 190? Okay, never mind. Pretty fast. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president, yep. Established a world record sustained flight using air-to-air refueling. How long was the flight? Wasn't it like, yeah, 27 days. Crazy. Stubby, when did he die? Oh, 1926. Dang it. How many passengers could it seat? I don't know, 400. That looks like a big plane. What kind of dress is the woman wearing the picture? A kimono. How long did the tusks of the mammoth grow? I mean, gosh, they could grow to like, what, 16 feet? Dang. Where was the Grumman test flown? I don't know. NASA Dryden Research Center in California. Okay. Ranger spacecraft gave scientists their first close look at the lunar surface. How many hours did it take to reach the moon? 65. I don't know. When was the Hubble telescope launched into orbit? So that was... yeah, not any of those other years. What the fuck? HIMAT is a research plane piloted by computer-assisted remote control. What does HIMAT stand for? Highly Maneuverable Aircraft Technology. High-end manufacturing time. Highly mixed aeronautical transition. I don't know. Highly maneuverable aircraft technology. Okay. Viking represented the culmination of when did the Viking missions begin? 1964. Lunar orbiter spacecraft mapped. What amount was the maximum power generated by the 450? Yeah, it was something like that. How old was the Morgan horse when it was presented, and Jared Sheridan is 3 years old, yeah. Was the 26th. Yeah, I'm fucking high. What was the name of the first carrier it took off from and landed on? USS Franklin D. Roosevelt? I don't know. Bipedal dinosaur lived around 150 million years ago. Allosaurus was one of the largest carnivores. How long were they? What is it, 40 feet? Yeah. When was it launched? That was in 1960. Yeah, now I'm getting back. How many measures? Yeah, one. How many were produced? More than 13,000. Whales and dolphins and seconds. How many pounds? There we go. We died in 1926. It's 3. What kind of rocket is this? It's a V2. That's NASA. How many people? 12. That was the Boston. And then he flew in Antarctica. And that was 190 kilometers faster in Kenya. And Theodore Roosevelt's the 26th president. Woolly Mammoth Tusk can be 16 feet. That was powered by battery. And then Able was... Yeah. Sweet. We beat the trivia game, guys. I guess there's not that many questions in the trivia game. I thought there was going to be way more. Sweet. Well, hey. We beat the trivia game, guys. Nice. Well, that is GG. That's all the stuff. I mean, there's, you know... Yeah, we did it. We did every minigame, we did all the awards. We'll go back and look at the awards real quick. We'll probably watch the credits just one more time. Got all the awards. We bought everything from the gallery. We read every fact card. We beat all of the mini games. So we beat all the Anubis puzzles. We beat all the Trilobite puzzles. We beat the trivia game. We've 100%ed the file. Collected everything. So there you go. Let's watch the credits one more time and call it.
Incredible. Gotta hand it to this place. Really incredible. Dang it, that was purty. A lot of work went into all of this. Gotta hand it to you. Nice work.
I know you! Love you, man.
Yay, me.
You guys are the best.
Like there's the picture of the train. I don't think that was ever actually used in the game in any sort of way. That's interesting, actually. There might have actually been like, maybe there was a point where they wanted to incorporate the train in the game.
Whew.
All right.
Guess that's a wrap.
Yeah. Good game. I definitely enjoy playing this game now and then. I enjoy the fact cards and the trivia game and some of the other stuff. Little bit of things that you can learn from it. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. This has been Night at the Museum's Battle of the Smithsonian, the video game 100%. There's not any multiplayer stuff to do. So if I come and revisit this game at any point, it'll probably just be to like check out how the game plays in 16:9 ratio. Probably not that much different. There might be some cool stuff you could do, since you could maybe aim your camera, aim your flashlight further off to the side, perhaps. I don't know. But anyway, have a good one, guys. Thanks for chilling. Peace out. Come on, 69 minutes. We're almost there. We're almost there. Yeah.